The punishment will never fit what you have taken from us.
Sentencing for the man who killed the mother of a Naval Academy midshipman during induction weekend. The pain still felt as the judge throws the book at the gunman. And a police staffing shortage making it harder to keep Baltimore safe. What's behind the continued struggles to keep officers as more young people are targeted in the city? Plus, Towson on edge after a string of violent crimes. What safety plans are in place in Baltimore County as the weekend begins?
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 6.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Maxine Stryker. The Fox 45 News at 6 o'clock starts right now with the exclusive Fox Track, your Baltimore Minute.
More than 3,000 students this school year get scholarships through the Boost program. It allows low-income families the opportunity to take their student out of a failing school and put them somewhere else. Governor Westmore looking to cut $2 million from the $10 million program, saying he doesn't want to see public dollars go to private schools.
That public dollars should not be going to private schools.
The public dollars for public education doesn't really resonate because we know that there are so many other things that show that to be somewhat to the contrary.
This may be Governor Moore's first, public office, but he's already proving that he's just a typical politician.
Two teens shot within an hour on Thursday, one of them on a dirt bike. Fox 45 pressing the governor about the violence.
We have an epidemic.
Calling it an epidemic, but answering broadly, not specifically on what he plans to do to curb it.
We made a $122 million investment in local law enforcement agencies, to include $17.5 million going towards Baltimore City alone.
Now, a Fox 45 News alert in 3, 2, 1.
We have breaking news right now. Tonight, the man who was convicted of shooting and killing the mother of a U.S. Naval Academy midshipman in town for induction weekend has received 3 life sentences. Angelo Herod shot and killed Michelle Cummings in June of 2021. According to prosecutors, she was outside on a hotel balcony when the bullet started flying. Today, Cummings' widower, who was also on that balcony at the time, thanked prosecutors, but also shared the pain his family feels.
I lost my best friend and my wife. The action impacted multiple families. The punishment will never fit what you have taken from us. It will never fit the crime or bring Michelle back.
The 2 other life sentences stem from attempted murder convictions for the people who were wounded. Prosecutors say they were the intended targets in that shooting. Maxine?
Well, also breaking tonight, new developments in the Marilyn Mosby trial. Federal prosecutors and the public defender for former City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby submit their trial date request. The new filings show the 2 parties are proposing a timeline that has that trial beginning this coming Halloween, October 31st. Mosby faces 4 federal charges related to vacation home purchases in Florida, including perjury and making false statements on a loan application. If or when the judge signs off on the Halloween start date, we'll be sure to let you know. And a string of violent crimes in the past 2 weeks has Towson residents on edge and elected leaders promising changes. On Monday, a 17-year-old student from Baltimore City was shot and killed near the Towson Circle. It comes on the heels of a rape and assault there and another shooting nearby. Jeff Abel is looking into what safety measures are being put into place this weekend.
Well, county leaders have spent all week attempting to calm the nerves of many of those who live and work in this Towson community. A string of violent attacks has put this community on edge. The latest happening earlier this week when a City High School student was gunned down about a block from the Towson Circle. Well, Wednesday night, the county executive led a crime walk through the community where he promised to assign more officers to the area and vowed to pursue more lights and surveillance cameras. But with the weekend ahead, some business owners say there's already a better sense of security.
I was grateful and felt safe how many police officers were stationed, in the back parking lots, in dark spots. They were there just on alert, and they have been.
Everything will help. I mean, obviously, if you can blanket the community with police and cameras and they're obviously, the police are out there working as hard as they can, and it can't be everywhere all the time. But, extra cameras and street lights and making it a more well-lit area will obviously help.
Well, according to the business community, some 50 new surveillance cameras have already been added to 50 buildings here in the Towson area just in the past month. Jeff Abel, Fox 45 News.
Well, Baltimore County Executive Johnny Olszewski announcing an updated schedule for the county's town hall budget meetings where constituents can share their ideas and priorities for the 2024 budget. 4 of them will be held throughout March and will be live streamed on the county's YouTube page. An Anne Arundel County man has died from his injuries after being shot earlier this week. 48-year-old Sherrod Moore was shot inside a Park Place residence in Brooklyn. 70-year-old George Summers was arrested in the shooting. Both Summers and Moore lived in the house where that shooting happened. The case is now being investigated as a homicide. A judge ordered the release of a redacted version of the grand jury investigation into the child sex abuse allegations at the Archdiocese of Baltimore. The 450-page report from Maryland's Attorney General has identified 600 sexual abuse victims dating back to the 1940s. It also identifies 158 predator priests, of which a third have never been publicly identified. A new bipartisan bill backed by Governor Wes Moore is aiming to tackle the drug epidemic. This comes as Maryland is now recording over 2,000 overdose deaths a year. If this bill becomes law, it would require hospitals conducting drug tests in overdose patients to also test for fentanyl.
A new report by the University of Maryland's Center for Substance Abuse Research finds that most emergency departments are screening only 5% of overdose patients for fentanyl. And when fentanyl tests were conducted, positivity rates exceed 40%.
Currently, hospitals do not automatically test for fentanyl in overdose cases. Those who lost loved ones to the drug saying the test could have a massive impact on treatment.
The entire reason I even want to do this bill and want this bill to pass is so that someone else can be saved. This bill couldn't have saved Josh, but it really does have the potential to save so many other people. And if we can save one life is worth saving.
Proponents of the bill say increased testing could also provide more accurate data on the drug crisis and help ensure survivors can get on a path to recovery. It's been 1 year since the start of the Russia-Ukraine war. The message from Ukraine's president and the promise from American leaders for continued support.
We're getting ready for winter-like temperatures and potentially a wintry mix tomorrow with highs in the 30s. We warm up on Sunday, but then it's back to cooler and rainy conditions on Monday. I'll break down what you can expect for the weekend and when we have our next warm-up coming up in my full forecast.
And is it too little too late? Talking with someone who is on the ground at the site of the Ohio train derailment about frustrations locals are expressing when it comes to the national response. In Baltimore, 2 teens were shot overnight. One of them was a 17-year-old who police say was shot while riding a dirt bike in northwest Baltimore. His injuries are not life-threatening. In southwest Baltimore, an 18-year-old girl was also shot in the leg. Police say the girl, along with her friends, got into an argument with a male suspect. That suspect opened fire on them, striking the girl. She's also expected to be okay. A nationally published op-ed written by a former Baltimore police deputy commissioner says the defund the police movement has created a staffing crisis within the profession and forced many departments to lower hiring standards. Alexa Ashwell spoke with him and has more on why he believes this issue is particularly impacting the city of Baltimore.
Here outside City Hall back in 2020 is where one of those defund the police protests occurred. In fact, this section of Gay Street was shut down. Back then, BPD was short officers and still is today.
Set me free, this noose inside now, I can't breathe.
It was this movement back in 2020
That when we say defund BPD, we mean that.
that former Baltimore Police Deputy Commissioner Jason Johnson says created a national staffing crisis within the law enforcement profession.
This is a real problem that the number of police officers that we have is important, and we need to have more.
Johnson's op-ed appearing in the Wall Street Journal. Here, the former deputy commissioner goes on to discuss how he believes recruitment difficulties has reduced the quality of officers, specifically mentioning the death of Tyree Nichols and the Memphis police officers now charged with his murder.
Police agencies across the country are lowering their standards because they're seeing real increases in retirements and resignations and many, many fewer applicants coming in the door. So as a result, they're having to lower their standards and who they hire to become police officers. And that presents a real danger to police professionalism and to public safety.
While experiencing its own staffing shortage, the Baltimore Police Department also remains under a federal consent decree, which includes training and hiring requirements. Johnson weighing in.
That could be a reason why you're seeing Baltimore continue to fail to meet the benchmarks for hiring and not being able to keep up with attrition.
For years, the Baltimore Police Department has experienced an officer shortage. Right now, BPD has more than 400 vacancies. By the end of 2022, the department had brought on 103 new officers, but lost 277 members. That year, the department also announcing new recruitment strategies and incentives, including increasing the starting salary for new hires to the highest of any law enforcement agency in the state. Yet the problem remains and was most recently addressed during a consent decree progress hearing.
What I think the judge was saying, it will take government, city government, state government, federal government to make contributions so that we can fundamentally do something different beyond what the police department itself is doing through its recruiting campaign and the pay incentives that we can afford to give.
Johnson sharing what he believes it will take for change here in Baltimore and across the country.
In order to get there, I don't think we can continue to beat police officers down, demoralize them, pass every type of legislation you can think of that makes it more and more difficult for them to do their job and less desirable to do their job.
I did reach out to BPD asking the department its opinion on the op-ed. I have not yet heard back. In Baltimore, Alexa Ashwell, Fox 45 News.
Respect our right to live on our land. Leave our territory. Stop bombing us.
Well, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky breaking wartime security protocols today, broadcasting a live news conference marking 1 year since Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The U.S. has been lending assistance to the Ukrainian resistance since the war began. The Defense Department announcing a $2 billion aid package to the country. It includes more rounds for rocket launchers, more artillery ammunition, as well as drone and counter-drone equipment. Well, Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is pledging military support through the end of the conflict. America's top diplomat is also backing Ukraine by presenting a unified front from neighboring allies.
Almost every country has felt the pain, and yet nations around the world continue to stand with Ukraine. Because we all recognize that if we abandon Ukraine, we abandon the UN Charter itself and the principles and rules that make all countries safer.
The U.S. also imposing a new round of sanctions on Russia, targeting Russia's metals and mining sector. That package is also taking aim at people and entities helping Russia evade current sanctions. Former South Carolina attorney Alex Murdaugh again taking the stand to testify in his double murder trial. Prosecutors today focusing on a 4-minute period that night when Murdaugh made several calls to his wife and logged nearly 300 steps. That time frame critical since the state believes the murders happened shortly before that frantic activity. Prosecutors accuse Murdaugh of creating an alibi during that time because he testifies he can't remember what he was doing.
I remember unequivocally, without any doubt, with as clear a mind as I could have at any time, that I never manufactured any alibi in any way, shape, or form, because I did not and would not hurt my wife and my child.
Well, the state claims because he's a seasoned lawyer and prosecutor, he knows how to craft an alibi to make it look like he's not the killer. 3 weeks ago, a massive 50-car train derailed along the Ohio-Pennsylvania border, a community in Ohio still dealing with the aftermath. Even after residents were told it was safe to return to their homes, they say they've experienced headaches, eye irritation, bloody noses, and they're worrying about long-term effects. This morning, Doug Eldridge from Achilles PR joined Fox 45 after visiting East Palestine, saying residents are not happy with how long it took for prominent leaders to visit the crash site.
It's frustration. I mean, it's better late than never. Something's always better than nothing. But this is perhaps an avoidable situation. Who knows? The NTSB will hopefully get to the bottom of that. But this is a time for all of us to come together. This isn't about politics. It's about people. It's not a time for apathy. It's a time for empathy.
The NTSB will hold a rare investigative field hearing this spring in East Palestine to hear testimony from witnesses and go over possible solutions. Chairwoman Jennifer Homendy says it could be a year to 18 months before the final report is released. And take a look at this. With the warmer weather to end the week, it's starting to look a lot like spring in Baltimore. Some trees are in bloom right now by our studio, but the warmth could disappear as quickly as it rolled in, unfortunately. Meteorologist Jasmine Lomax has the details.
Yeah, Maxine, that's right. We had a gorgeous and warm day yesterday, but we're getting ready for winter weather, and we're already starting to feel that cool down. It's quiet over Towson and over the harbor. We're dry, and it's quiet on the HD radar for our state, but we do have our next weather maker on the way, and that could bring potential winter weather tomorrow, impacting your Saturday plans. 47 and a few clouds linger in the background. Winds are out of the northwest around 9 miles per hour, and the wind chills coming in at 43. Across the state, we're mainly seeing the 40s now. A couple spots in the 50s. La Plata in California are 2 high spots on the map, but we are all in for a big cool down overnight as our temperatures fall below freezing to the 20s and the low 30s. As we head later into the morning, we do have our next weather maker arriving. You can see a few showers that will continue to spread toward the north as we head into the day tomorrow, leading to areas of rain, but possibly some flurries mixed within that. Overnight will stay mostly cloudy as we drop to the 20s and 30s. Then later in the morning around 10 a.m. we are tracking showers, and notice those areas of blue, possibly some flurries mixed in with that. There is the chance for a few more flurries as we head later into the afternoon, but this does quickly taper. By about 5 p.m. we are back to dry and cloudy weather. We're not talking much accumulation. Our ground temperatures will be too warm, but just make sure that you are keeping watch on the radar if you have to drive anywhere tomorrow. In terms of accumulation, we're generally talking less than an inch. For most of us, it's just a coating to about 2/10 of an inch. The highest totals are going to be to the south part of the state. As we head into the night, temperatures fall to 29 with clear and quiet conditions. Wind gusts could exceed 20 miles per hour, so expect a cold, wintry start to the morning. Then as we head into the late morning through the late afternoon, we have the chance for that rain and snow mix. Temperatures reach the 30s, meaning a cool day with below average temperatures, but we are back to above average numbers as we head into the upcoming week. Coming up, I'll have a look at the exclusive 10-day forecast, and I'll let you know how high temperatures get next week and when to expect our next weather maker.
Weather Window, presented by the National Weather Desk.
Ice balls, or ice eggs, have appeared along the shores of Lake Michigan. These form when small pieces of ice are rolled around repeatedly by wind and current, growing them into these shapes. Rare blizzard warnings are posted for parts of Southern California through tomorrow afternoon. Snowfall at some higher elevations could top 7 feet. And we end with this memorable sunrise from Pawleys Island, South Carolina.
For more content like this, follow the National Weather Desk on TikTok.
Tonight on the news at 10, don't miss our latest Maryland moment. Sharp Dressed Man, the South Baltimore organization, has helped those in rehab and reentry programs, fitting them and giving them 2 full suits. Volunteers and participants alike say it's far more than just that. It's measuring them and fitting them for their future. Rebecca Pryor and photojournalist Nathan Aaron will have this story tonight at 10.
Millions of American families are living paycheck to paycheck, and the reason may be parked right there in your garage. I'm Angela Brown in Washington, D.C. The rise in auto loan delinquencies and what it may say about the economy.
Well, in tonight's Assignment America, a troubling sign for the economy. An alarming number of Americans are struggling to pay their car loans. The National Desk's Angela Brown explains why thousands are behind on their payments.
Another reason families are living paycheck to paycheck, a high car note. A new report found that 16% of new car buyers in the fourth quarter are paying $1,000 or more a month for a car payment. A house of cards that may be crumbling. If you bought a car during the pandemic, you may still be feeling the pinch of inventory shortages, supply chain issues, a global chip shortage, all driving prices up.
But now with interest rates creeping up, it's another blow to consumers.
A recent report from Edmunds.com says the average new car loan interest rate hit 6.5% in the fourth quarter. A new report from Kelley Blue Book puts the average monthly payment for a new car at $780. Consumers are paying more, loans are higher, and car loan delinquencies are on the rise. Greg McBride, Bankrate.
More and more borrowers that are very far upside down on their vehicles because of the fact that they paid an inflated price, borrowed most, if not all of that, and then stretched that loan term out over a longer period of time.
CNBC reporting that the share of borrowers who are 60 or more days behind in their auto loan payments was 26.7% higher in December than it was a year earlier. Some economists believe car loan delinquencies are an indicator of deeper cracks in the economy about to surface.
The only reason we're not in a recession right now is because we had almost $3 trillion of accumulated savings during the pandemic. Americans are spending through those savings to make their ends meet, and those savings are going to run dry this year. And I think we're due for a really, really painful correction.
A bank rate survey found there's a 64% risk of entering a recession. But keep in mind, there are a lot of car loans out there. That number is increasing, over 81 million, according to Finder. Reporting in Washington, D.C., I'm Angela Brown.
After spring-like temperatures yesterday, we are back to more winter-like February temperatures tomorrow. We started in the 20s before reaching the 30s by the afternoon. We do have the chance for a rain-snow mix from the late morning through the late afternoon. Then as we head into Sunday, we're back to dry weather and higher temperatures, 56, 48 on Monday with a chance for rain, 60 on Tuesday with plenty of sunshine, 50s on Wednesday. Then we finish the work week with falling temperatures and the chance for scattered showers. Over the weekend, temperatures drop back to the 40s. Maxine?
A grant going to help students at Carver Vocational High School learns practical skills in construction design and more. As part of the Michael Jordan Brand Black Community Commitment Program, $25,000 will be given to the Carver House Equity Foundation. That money will be used to help students in the school's CTE program get real-world experience rehabbing a vacant townhome near their school. That's all for Fox 45 News at 6. Family Feud is next. We'll see you again tonight at 10. Have a great night.